and welcome to Comcast NewsMakers, the first year doing Comcast NewsMakers in the state of New Mexico. Thank you for being with us today. We are next door to the Roundhouse at the Rio Chama, and today we have Senator Craig Brandt with us. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So how are things going so far at the session?
Well, they're a little slow. Things seem to be in a little bit of gridlock. I'm not sure that certain people got their way, so they're holding things up.
Right, and this session, it's a little different from, well, it's very different from many years in the past. We have a Democratic Senate, a Republican House. So how does that play with the politics?
Well, I was hopeful coming into the session that we'd be able to work together, but it's pretty obvious at this point that that's not going to happen.
Right.
That the political views of the Senate Democrats are not going to negotiate at all and be willing to do anything that's good for the state of New Mexico.
Right. And you have a bill that you're pushing right now. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I'm working on a bill to address the underlying issue of DUI, and it's taking a new approach. In the past I've carried bills, and there's been a lot of bills on just raising the time in prison and the punishments. But what this looks at is making sure that we have treatment at all levels. So you get your first DUI, the judge is required to send you to treatment. There'll be a screening process that will determine what treatment you need and how bad your addictions are, and then the judge will send you to that treatment.
Well, that's great. So it's not just you get a DUI, go back on the street, and keep getting them.
Correct. Trying to address the problem that gets people, behind the wheel drunk in the first place. Mm-hmm. Why are they drinking so much that they can't think straight, and they go out and get behind the wheel of a car? And so right now we only have treatment after it's a felony. Which is 4 convictions.
Wow.
And so we're making the treatment mandatory on the first 3 convictions.
Okay.
Because it already is on the 4th. The other thing the bill does, which does go into a little bit of the punishment side, is that right now our DAs have a tendency to charge the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th time as a 3rd, so that it never gets charged as a felony. Okay. This bill also takes away that.
Oh, wow. So this bill would affect not just first-timers, but people who maybe received their 7th or 8th.
Yeah, it would affect every time you get a DUI. Okay. And right now DAs, they use it as a tool to plea down. But we had, just in the last week, we had someone that had their 7th conviction, but they were only tried as a 3rd. Wow. And so that keeps it as a misdemeanor, which was never the intention of the legislature, for them just to continue to plead them down to a 3rd offense.
Right. Now, do you think this will end up saving money for this state, or is there a cost for it? Well,
there is a cost, and what we've done is the liquor excise tax last year was moved in, part of it was moved into the lottery to help keep the lottery paying more. Yeah. And that sunsets next year. And so we've not taken any money out of the lottery fund. What we've said is when it comes back to the general fund, we're going to use it for treatment like it was intended to be in the first place. So we just take that money as it comes back over to us, to the general fund, and we put it in the office of the courts to run this program, to make sure we get treatment for those who need the treatment. So we hopefully will save lives.
Great. So that's your top piece of legislation.
Yes.
Any other pieces of legislation you're watching that you're trying to get past this session?
Well, as far as my own legislation, I think all of it's going to die in judiciary, which happens quite often. They're backed up. They purposely back it up. But that's life. That's the way it works up here. The only way that changes is to change who runs things. So until that happens, you do what you can. I'm very interested in right to work. I think it's a huge and extremely important issue for our state. Mm-hmm. I think of all the pieces for our economy, this one doesn't cost the state anything, and yet could create thousands of jobs in the end. Arizona and New Mexico came into the nation at the same time. Look how much better Arizona's doing. It's always been right to work. New Mexico's not.
So is it fair to say that that's your top priority for business?
It would be, I would be willing to give up almost every bill that I have to make sure that right to work goes through.
Wow.
I think it's that important to the state.
Okay.
And I think it's that important to the future. You know, we have the second highest rate of poverty in the nation.
Yeah.
Why? You know, what's the one thing that every economist looks at and says, what's hurting New Mexico? You're not a right to work state.
Well, we'll see how it moves this session in our last 11, 12 days. It'll be tough.
Yes, it's going to be very tough. You know, I'm on the committee that's actually voting on it this evening.
Oh, God bless you.
And I actually don't think it's going to pass.
Okay.
But there are some other things that hopefully we can do and hopefully we can work on to move it on the floor.
Right. And that's something that it won't just be like, oh, we didn't pass it this year, give up.
No.
Keep working on it.
No, I guarantee you the right to work will be a common theme until it gets passed.
Well, that's great. And thank you for all of your hard work. And
Absolutely.
I look forward to see how your DWI bill goes. So.
And it's one of those that, just like right to work, I'm not going to give up on it if it doesn't make it through this year. You know, we're going to work on it. We're going to work on it with the Office of the Courts through the summer and bring it back next year if it doesn't make it this year.
All right. And that's the spirit you have to have up here in Santa Fe.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Senator,
Thank you.
for being here. We appreciate it. And for all of the hard work you do for New Mexico.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. That is it for us at Comcast NewsMakers in New Mexico today. We'll see you next episode. Thank you.